Welcome to Ministry 311, Church Government and Administration. This is Lesson 2, Congregational Church Government. In preparation for this class, you should read Church Government, Chapter 1. By the time you finish with this class, you will describe the congregational form of church government. Of the three primary forms of church governments, the congregational form has the most diversity and allows more variety of function. There is a wide variety of leadership structure and diversity in the definitions of the leadership roles. We will explore these leadership titles and roles more in depth in a later class. The typical congregational church is led by a single elder, commonly titled as pastor, although there is a variety of titles used for this role. Pastor, bishop, apostle, minister, senior pastor. While a single elder may have the highest title, many congregational churches may actually be controlled by one or more boards or groups within the church. More on this later. The word denomination refers to the subcategories within the Christian church at large. Congregational governed church denominations include the organization known as Congregationalist churches, Congregational Methodist, the Church of Christ, Baptist, of which the Southern Baptist Convention is by far the largest, Mennonite, evangelical free churches, non-denominational churches which affiliate with no denomination, and many independent churches. Most congregational governed churches are largely autonomous. Most are, to some degree, democratic in that the entire membership votes on all important matters. They usually elect or appoint a board to oversee church ministries, operations, and spending. The final word on most issues is the congregation. Membership is specifically defined, and members must meet certain qualifications in order to vote on these issues. One strength of a congregational governed church is that every member joins together for the benefit of the group, for the goals and objectives of the church, and for the work of the ministry. One weakness is that sometimes immature or weak members can confuse their preferences with Bible-based decisions and vote for something that may not be biblical or sound. Church members may not realize that the church is not a democracy, but rather a theocracy, not a political organization, but rather a kingdom. Government in God's kingdom flows from the top down, not from the bottom up, as in a democracy. This can be a significant problem in democratic countries such as the US, not so much in nations with less democracy, centralized governments, autocracies, or dictatorships. The representatives on a board may be elected on the basis of popularity rather than their calling or ability to serve the needs of the body. This fosters selfish, political maneuvering and factions within the church. Many congregational governed churches lack an effective appeals procedure in case of doctrinal or financial disputes or problems with pastoral relations. This may result in strong pastors dominating their congregation, or weak pastors ineffectively managing their flock. Here are several illustrations of congregational governed organizations, depending on who is at the top. The first is most common, that of the single elder form. In this structure, the pastor or senior pastor, in the case of a larger church where a senior pastor shares his pastoral duties with others, he is recognized as the leader or benevolent ruler of the church. Few, if any, members can override decisions made by the senior pastor. More often than not, this leader comes from outside the local church family. He sets the vision for the church and all doctrinal decisions, and most financial matters are made by him. This leader is usually voted in by the membership after a selection and vetting process, or maybe the founding pastor of a newer assembly. This leader may direct the activities of several smaller boards or groups within the church. These may include a board of trustees, which normally serves to manage the real property of the church rather than the operations of the church. A board of elders or church council, which serves to advise the pastor and may represent the congregation in managing operations. A board of deacons, whose duties can include meeting physical and spiritual needs of the congregation as directed by the pastor. The next example would be where the board of elders or a church council is at the top. Members of the board are elected or appointed. The pastor serves at the pleasure of the board of elders and is subject to it as a function of their ability to hire and fire him. This form is not completely democratic, but rather resembles a republic where the congregation elects representatives. They advocate for the congregation as a whole. Here, decisions, including financial and doctrinal, are made by a majority vote among the elders. This form has weaknesses. In some cases, the most persuasive, largest contributor, or most politically adept elder may rule the board, forcing his opinions on others. When voting is a method to make decisions, elders may concentrate on getting a majority instead of seeking God's will, may concentrate on winning to their own opinion rather than setting a precedent to losing to what may be the right thing to do. If worldliness or unbiblical teaching is overlooked or condoned by a group of elders, then the church family can be weakened and led astray. This last form is almost completely democratic. The congregation makes all the decisions by majority vote. The congregation has complete control over the hiring and firing of the pastor, over the membership of the board of trustees, and may or may not control the deacons and board of elders. The obvious weakness is the negation of clear biblical teaching that we as members of the body are sheep and need a shepherd. There is a wide variety of other structures that will be mentioned in your reading. All of these have advantages, and some of these have significant weaknesses that must be guarded against. As we mentioned at the beginning of this class, the New Testament does not clearly lay out a detailed model of church government. These are all an attempt to be as biblical as possible. Some succeed, some fail miserably.